talked to Ben about this earlier. I'm still not real happy that we're going ahead and approving video or audio participation going forward. And I would like to revisit that once we come out of this pandemic thing, because I'm still not real sure I want that in our policy.
I agree, and I'll revisit it with you.
Okay.
May I speak to that?
I'll no vote.
May I speak to that briefly?
Yeah, go ahead, Tom.
Okay, so what I did is took into consideration the different points of view expressed when this came up at the last meeting, realizing that it wasn't something that was entirely agreed upon either way, and taking into account the matters that were discussed, I revised it to try to give you common ground by making this only a temporary mechanism that would only last during the existence of the executive order from the governor, or basically during the COVID-19 pandemic that is causing the need for these kinds of discussions to happen remotely. So, in other words, once that's done with no further action of the board, this empowerment setting forth the various rules for conduct of audio and video will basically disappear, and it will no longer be in force. So I just limited it, rather than making it a long-standing policy across the board for you to have to consider adopting, and maybe not wishing to do that. I just tailored it to the current pandemic situation.
I didn't.
But Tom,
oh, sorry. Go ahead, Tom.
Tom, isn't that already what the executive order does? In other words, I just don't see the need for us to have to pass anything if we just follow the executive order issued by the governor. That in itself will dictate how we're able to do it until such time that he removes that executive order. So I don't see the need to really pass this separately. Basically, just why can't we just follow what the executive order is?
Well, I understand your observation there, and yes, the executive order has made some very fundamental changes in the ability to conduct a remote meeting. And however, there is a mandatory provision in the underlying section of the Open Meetings Act that imposes a duty on a public body to adopt rules for the conduct of their remote meetings. And that's all this really does, and it does it on a temporary basis. So the executive order didn't override that or dispense with that requirement, as it also didn't dispense with other essential requirements in the act, such as having a public meeting and the like. So I understand where you're coming from, Commissioner Cook, but that's the basic problem here. We don't have rules, and the statute mandates it under the Open Meetings Act.
Okay, I don't have the document in front of me here. I can't pull it up on my screen, but when I read it earlier, I don't recall the paragraph that indicates that this is a temporary thing and that it will basically go away with the governor's order. Does somebody have that they could read that portion?
I have it in front of me. So let me key in on that, if I may. First of all, the title says an ordinance establishing rules governing audio or video participation at meetings of the Board of Park Commissioners of Elk Grove Park District, Cook County, Illinois, during the duration of the Gubernatorial Executive Order 2020-07. So the title indicates that it's only a temporary empowerment right there. Now, elsewhere in the section 8, which the title, which is effective, it says this ordinance shall be effective upon adoption and shall only be effective for the duration of the temporary waiver of restrictions referred to in section 5 above, which is the executive order. Once said waiver of restrictions is no longer in force, this ordinance shall no longer be in force or effect, and no further board meetings by remote means shall be conducted by the board without further action of the board allowing for same.
Oh, well, that,
Sounds good to me.
hey, Ben, I think you sent me the old one.
Yeah, I don't remember that in the language, but
No, and if
Is
that's
that
what
the
this
current-
one reads, I'm good with it.
Well, maybe I sent you the original version before Comment updated it.
Yeah, I got the old one because I didn't see the language he just mentioned, so I'm good with that language.
Sorry, my apologies, guys. I must have sent you
Nope.
the original version.
The updated one is in the board packet.
Oh,
I never got the board packet. Ben sent it to me today.
We sent it on
There
Monday.
was an email from Kathy that said collaboration.
Yeah, hey, Kathy, did you send it to my AOL one or the?
Sent it to both your AOL and your Park District one.
Yeah, you can drop off the AOL one forever.
yeah, I didn't get it. I just had the old one. So or
I might have
whatever
just
I got.
missed it. I don't want to keep bogging this down. I might have just missed it. That could have been mine. Might have been.
Okay.
Not a problem. I'm reading from the one that I sent to the executive director, and it was redlined. That's what I have up on my screen. I can resend that to him again, and then he can shoot it out to all of you. But that provision there, I thought was the one that might make a difference in your ability to proceed forward on a temporary basis and not make this a permanent policy.
Yeah, if you could send that, that would be appreciated. And what is the date of that updated?
That would be
Whatever.
that's for tonight, the 23rd of April, 2020.
Okay.
All right, I think we're good. We had a motion and a second, correct?
Yes.
Kathy, can I get a roll call, please?
Commissioner Biecki,
Yes.
Commissioner Sauter,
Yes.
Commissioner O'Malley,
Yes.
Commissioner Cook,
Yes.
President Wells.
Yes. Okay, we're up to approval of Williams. I'm sorry, I thought I heard somebody. Approval of Williams pay request number 7 for Williams Architect for professional services and design development phases of the golf course clubhouse and maintenance facility in the amount of $82,910.01. Need a motion in a second.
So moved.
Second.
Ben, you had said something earlier today. You want to just update everybody, maybe including the
Sure.
public?
So this is payment for Williams is doing our schematic design and design development for the Fox Run clubhouse and maintenance facility. This payment brings us to about 50% of the total contract, which is $765,000.
Okay, any questions or comments for Ben on that? All right, Kathy, can I get a roll call, please?
Commissioner Sauter,
Yes.
Commissioner O'Malley,
Yes.
Commissioner Cook,
Yes.
Commissioner Biecki,
Yes.
President Wells.
I am a yes. Last on the recommendations and approvals is approval of electricity commodity sales agreement with AEP Energy, Inc. for a 3-year period at 0.05738 per kilowatt hour. I need a motion in a second.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions on this? Brad, you were on this one?
No, but have we considered going to oil-based power for everything?
Yeah, I heard it's in the negative.
They'll pay us for it.
All right, Kathy,
Wait, I had a question on it.
sure.
Did we ever get a quote from the company that we currently are using? I know you mentioned you were still waiting for one. I don't see why. Do we know why they didn't bid on it?
No, they did. I updated. Everyone was, so the market's pretty volatile right now, so they all wanted to provide pricing the day of. So I updated the memo in the board packet. We got quotes from AEP, Direct Energy, Dynegy Energy, and Champion. Champion was our current provider. They did, all of them were pretty packed close together. AEP was the lowest.
At what rate was that?
0.05738.
Oh, so wait, 0.053.
0.05738.
Okay, and that was the lowest bid?
Yeah.
And that's the one you're recommending?
That is the one I'm recommending. Yeah, they're all reputable companies. I got references. A lot of school districts currently use them. So, and then yeah, I have no issues with AEP.
And was this for a 2 or 3 year?
This is a 3-year price. That's where our current deal that is expiring was also a 3-year.
Okay. Any other comments or questions? Kathy, could I get a roll call on that, please?
Commissioner O'Malley,
yes,
Commissioner Cook,
Yes.
Commissioner Viecki,
Yes.
Commissioner Sauter,
Yes.
President Walls.
I am a yes. Or to committee reports, capital projects, Commissioner O'Malley.
no report.
We're at Finance Committee, Commissioner Sauter.
All right, I'm gonna read this one because, quite frankly, this might be the last good one we have for a while. The corporate fund, all expense categories except unemployment insurance for unemployment claims are below budget. Net year to date is $1,905,000 compared to a budget of $1,834,000. Rec fund. Net revenue of $546 compared to a budgeted loss of $443, and golf fund net loss of $131,000 compared to a budgeted loss of $214,000. That ends my report.
Any questions for Ralph? Next on the agenda is Committee of the Whole for me. I do not have a report. Athletic Committee, it would be again back to Commissioner Sauter.
I have no report. Tiffany, are you on here?
Yeah, she's here.
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, my question for you is how much have you or any of the staff been getting questions from some of the groups of baseball, soccer, et cetera, softball, inline?
It's all been very minimal. The meetings this month moved online, but there's only been one meeting so far. I'm attending the soccer meeting next Wednesday evening, so really not a lot.
Okay, so yeah, I don't. Like I said, I don't really have a report. I just wish we could get these kids back out and on the field or court or rink or diamond. Keep our fingers crossed and hope things turn around for us.
I agree.
All right, any other questions for Commissioner Sauter? Golf Course Committee, Commissioner Cook. Were you watching the news today, hopefully?
Yes, I was, and
Nice.
I talked to Ben a little bit to see if he had any other details. As we know, the governor is going to allow golf courses to open May 1st with restrictions. They weren't all listed at the meeting, but I'm sure we'll deal with social distancing, probably not being able to use golf carts, clubhouse restrictions and things of that nature. And I know Ben and Tom over there are working on, and Brad are working on going through those restrictions and hopefully planning on opening on May 1st to some extent, to whatever extent we can open. And that's really all I have. As far as the project goes, we're still on course with, as I think Ben updated in his minutes, going in front of the Plan Commission at the end of this month, or end of May. And approval process is going forward, so we can get ready to go out to bid. And as we see what happens this summer, we can maybe decide, how that's, if there needs to be any changes in our timetable, either moving it up or back, depending on how this thing goes through the summer.
Back.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll have more discussion on that, but right now, the things that we need to get approved to be able to go to bid, which is we want to stay on track with that. We're on track with all of that. So that ends my report.
All right, any questions for Tom? I will say I follow Jeremy and Ben at the golf course on Twitter, and I get photos, and I'm telling you, you will never play a better pristine course ever in your career. on May
Well, if
1st.
nobody plays on it, of course it's going to be pristine.
It's going to be great. I can't wait. Who is up next? So we have Youth Committee, Commissioner Biedke.
The Elk Grove Youth Committee, in partnership with the Village of Elk Grove and Elk Grove Park Foundation, will be issuing 7 $1,000 awards, 5 by the Elk Grove Village and 2 by the Elk Grove Village Park Foundation, to recognize high school seniors for their outstanding leadership, community participation, and service in the community. Eligibility and selection criteria for consideration: 1, the applicant must be a resident of Elk Grove Village. 2, the applicant must be a high school senior attending a college, university, or trade school in the fall. And 3, applicant must have provided service to the school and community, including demonstration of positive leadership qualities. Completed responses must be returned to the Elk Grove Municipal Complex. And on the form, it says administration counter, but at the village board meeting last Tuesday, they switched it to the police department window. So there will be a container that's properly will be marked for the Elk Grove Youth Foundation scholarships. Place your application in that basket by the police station, and they will get it to Trustee Frankie and village staff, who will then review and do their thing. So that is what is happening. The deadline for the awards is Monday, May 4th. So that's coming up. Again, the deadline is Monday, May 4th, and winners will be notified after May 29th. That concludes my report.
So May 4th is a Monday. That's only about a week and a half away. Not even. So
this is the last time you'll hear me say this.
What's that?
It's the last time you'll hear me say this, then.
Yeah.
The same report the last 3 times.
Okay. Any questions or comments for Commissioner Biedke? Adult Center Committee, Commissioner Cook.
Yes, not a whole lot to report. Actually, it's closed down and no activities, but Colleen and Gina over there have been keeping in touch with the members via phone and keeping them updated with what's going on. And I know they're all anxious to see if somehow we can open up or have some virtual type of activity. So they're going to look at that and see if there's anything available we can do. We also received in the board packet plans with shows the project at the Haddendorf Center, outlining how it's going to be set up. I talked to Ben today, and when they finally get together with the different amenities that they're going to have there as far as exercise stations and things like that, I asked them to bring that in front of the board so we could see what they're going to plan to put in there before it goes out to bid, to make sure we agree with the different features we want out there. And that ends my report.
Any questions for Commissioner Cook? Okay, we're at old business. Anybody have any old business?
Yeah, I'd like to bring up a subject.
Go right ahead.
All right, Kathy, please listen because I want notes on this. This is mainly to the other commissioners. I've talked to enough employees, but I would like to lead a discussion now and champion a movement going forward on postponing the Fox Run maintenance and clubhouse project into the fall of 2021. I'm looking at some of the notes I put in front of me, so I'm going to try to talk passionately. As this COVID-19 pandemic is ravaging our budget at close to $425,000 a month on salaries, with no revenue coming in except taxes, I owe a responsibility to the taxpayers and all the Park District employees on taking a timeout on a $9 million project. Park districts locally and across the state that saved for a rainy day, budgeted wisely, and have been listening to their residents are going to survive this. Those that didn't won't. I can't see borrowing over $5 million or more, you guys, and bringing our corp and our rec funds down, how that can be a good move for this park district or any park district right now. We don't even know how this pandemic is going to play out with our budget. But taking all of our assets and throwing them at the golf course, to me, right now is wrong. We personally don't know if Rainbow Falls or Pirates Cove is going to be open. We don't know if people are going to come back to our pavilion when it does reopen. Are we going to have any close contact recreation when we open back up? Personally, we talk about how we're trying to protect the staff and not have layoffs and furloughs. but I also don't want coordinators and management to have to struggle to remain financially solvent with their programs moving forward without the fear of layoffs, price increases, and anxiety, because we weren't smart enough now to wait a year and see how this plays out. We're not talking about a $600,000 Hattendorf project, but $9 million that we're arranging in our asset funds. What happens if we have to close again in October or December due to Pritzker or some common sense, or we get the double whammy and we don't even know what our finances are going to be? But I do know that we're probably going to be down over $1 million out of our funds just with salaries and without any revenue coming in. How are we supposed to justify to the residents or even to 95% of the employees that are questioning this investment right now? In my mind, there's not going to be a single taxpayer who will be harmed by delaying this. People can still golf. We can look at it again next year. I mean, I'm not saying don't do the project, but I just think it's unwise to do it right now. Who knows? Maybe even going forward, there can be some insight on how to maximize or even change the layout. If a vaccine is not even found and we have a different set of dynamics moving forward, maybe there'll be a new federal stimulus package for governments that'll be rolled out for shovel-ready projects, and we'll be ready. But right now, we have no grants, no state or federal funding for this Fox Run project. I don't know. I just don't feel that we should be short-sighted to kind of fund a want instead of potentially many short-term needs that may pop up. You know, over my 19 years on the board, and a lot of you guys know how I feel about fiscal or how we feel on our financial strength. I don't know. I just think that we've combated a lot of things and thought wisely, and I just don't want to do it right now. The only con I can think about that you guys would bring up is that maybe we'd get a good price when we go out to bid. But right now, you know, is any price the right price? I don't know. And my last thing that I wrote down was, even we as board members hold the residents and the employees. I'm pretty confident that they would agree to holding this off for a year. And that's still who I've got to listen to. Maybe not just a couple Park District employees that work for the golf course, but all the employees, all the residents. So Kathy, what I really want you to mark down, and I feel comfortable, is that let the record show that I'm strongly opposed to moving forward with the Fox Run project in the fall. And hopefully that we can have a discussion now and continue over the next month or two. And that's all I wanted to say.
Anybody else have comments on this topic?
Well, it opens up some questions, and Bill, I appreciate your passion on this, and I'm not disagreeing with you. I just got a couple of questions. One for Brad. Brad, what would that do to our budget, et cetera? Will we be able to move funds from that project and then rebudget it next year?
Well,
wait, guys, before we get into a large discussion about this and ask Brad off the cuff questions, without us really knowing and researching the information, what I would prefer to do, I mean, Bill's brought up some good questions that I think of all, you know, as we see this thing develop, at one point has crossed our mind, but I think it would be prudent if we gave staff an opportunity to put some pros and cons and look at, you know, what the cost would be if we did delay the project, and you know, like we did with, you know, like a plan A, B, and C, depending on how long this epidemic goes, looking at a couple different options moving forward and what it would cost. So I don't think it's fair to ask staff to come off the cuff with an immediate response to Bill's question, nor do I think we need an immediate answer. We're at a point now where certain things are going to move forward until, you know, they aren't costing us any additional money than what we've spent, you know, over the next 30 days. So I want to see that. I would like to see that continue to move forward, and then have maybe staff and our committee go through and answer some of Bill's questions and look at some of the different costs involved should we decide to go a different route. I think it would be. I think we'd have a much better discussion if we give them time to prepare some of that information for us.
Tom, I'm not asking him to answer Bill's question. I'm asking him to answer mine. Mine is this is tactical. This has nothing to do with numbers. Can we move the money that is now earmarked in the budget for the golf course to move it into the corporate to use for other expenses without an ordinance or a big major change. That's all.
So as far as the bond issue, we would not be able to move that. That would have to stay because of the way we issued our BINA hearing, and it was only for the golf course project. Now we could redo a BINA hearing, but that would be the bonds, and that would probably stay in the capital for capital projects. As far as the fund balance that we were planning on using, that was coming from the corporate fund already, and I wasn't planning on moving that until we absolutely needed it to. It was mainly for interest, so it would stay in the corporate fund. So it does give us some flexibility. Where the corporate fund is pretty well funded right now. We're last projections close. I mean, we're well over our fund balance policy. So we have money in there. Now, where that's best going to be utilized in the future, no one knows right now.
Okay, but I agree with Bill about, and I agree with Tom. I agree with you that, we need to make some more informed decisions down the road. I just wanted to know if we had the ability to move the money from the project to cover some of the concerns that Bill had.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have that money that's earmarked in the corporate fund, their most flexible fund that we can move to any fund.
Okay.
So yes.
That's all I had.
And for Commissioner Cook, mine actually weren't even questions to staff. I mean, I'm talking to the commissioners now. I'm not being callous and I'm not being rude, but I get a flavor for what the residents are thinking. I've heard enough from staff, and I've heard enough from non-management staff who are afraid of their budgets and what's happening and what type of pressure and rearranging and cross-training. And the pandemic's too wild right now. And I just want to start thinking about what some of the harm might be in delaying the project and what some of the pros are. And I just see more harm. So I really don't have questions for staff. I want the commissioners to start thinking for themselves. Not that you're not, but I was asking those questions of other commissioners.
Bob, do you have anything on this?
I mean, right now with everything that's going on, I do agree with Commissioner O'Malley. And the perception is out there, people are losing their jobs. Who knows if people are going to be furloughed, or, who knows what's going on. But I think it looks bad if we're spending $9 million and people are furloughed. I just doesn't, I don't want that perception, or I don't want that to be a reality. So I would be in favor of pushing this back until we see what's going on. Because I know in the school setting, they're saying they don't even know what the fall might look like. We might continue with, we might not have in-person school. Who knows with everything that's going on. So this whole year can be, it's what if, no one knows. So, I agree with O'Malley.
All right, Bill, I don't disagree with anything you said, but I will kind of go back to what Tom Cook touched on a little bit. It was, we're in a process on this thing where moving forward is money already spent for us as far as Williams Architect, and maybe even possibly going out for bid to see what the price is. I'm not saying I disagree with you, Bill, and you and I have spoke on this before. I too am cognizant of what's going on, and we have a lot of dollars spent. But what I would say, in my opinion, is, and you're asking for our opinions and our thoughts, is let's keep this moving forward until it gets to the point where we're spending money that we can't get back if we were to cancel the project. And I hope I explained that enough, where we can keep moving forward with this project. Basically, it's architecture and engineering fees. It's what the future building will look like. And I think we could move forward whether we build it in 2020, 21, 22, whatever. And then, as we've said in the past, this thing is moving so quickly on differences. If you'd have asked me this morning, when would the next golf course take their first round, I would have told you June 1st, no later. And then 4 hours later, it's, 4 days from now or 11 days from now. So I just want to explain, I don't disagree with you, and I tend to agree on most of your parts, but let's not give up kind of the wheel that's already spinning on this project. we're not going to get hurt by keeping moving forward, I guess is what I'm saying.
We'll get hurt when we start spending money towards it that will no longer be available for any other department or any other program. That's
I
when
agree.
we'll get hurt. So
That's exactly. That's
I
exactly
don't know
my
when.
point.
I don't know when that is. You know, and I want to make sure that everybody, you use the word cancel. I'm not talking about canceling any project or canceling this. My word is postponing, because I'd like to have the financial flexibility this year, and I don't think we would have that if we commit, you know what, our ante over to the golf course. That's all.
No, I agree, and I, you know, we could have said this months ago before this happened. You have to really thank the commissioners on this board, the commissioners on the previous boards, maybe going back 15, 20 years, that we are in a position where we are okay with our money. We don't want to start foolishly spending it now. So, you know, thanks to all the previous commissioners in this board, that we are pretty good shape considering. But to go back to my point, we're already in on this monetarily, in my belief. I'm with you. Let's keep moving forward until we absolutely say, hey, this will now cost us if we move with this contract. And I think you know what I mean by that. You know, we can go out to bid and see, you know, what do the numbers look like. I just think we probably should meet on it again. And like Tom said, let staff come up with some maybe numbers and some plan A, B's, and C's.
Yeah, and all I'm saying is make sure when the staff comes up with some of their numbers that, you know, it'll be Ben's job and Brad's job to make sure that we get a flavor of what the entire park district is thinking, and not just one or two departments either.
Yeah, and I don't know that the golf course, you know, the people that work at the golf course are in favor of it anymore. I mean, we haven't talked to them, so I don't want to put words in their mouth either.
Well, keep in mind too, you know, some of the funds, you basically have capitals, and then you have programming. Some of the programming that we're not able to do because of this virus, we're going to lose some of that revenue, but we're also not going to have some of those expenses as well. So that's why when I asked, I'd like to know more from staff and have them analyze some of those. What is going to be our true loss, or maybe it's a break even? Because our two revenue sources are user fees for our programs and taxes. And our two expenses, you got your programming and then you got your capital. So I kind of view the golf course as a capital project that needs to be done, or we wouldn't be doing it. We wouldn't have been doing it. And I don't know that we're going to need the capital funds the way we've planned. I don't think we necessarily need capital funds to be used for programming expense. But once again, without having the numbers here and just being asked us to look at that, I think that's something I would like staff to look at as we look at some of these programs that are not being put on. What is going to be our true loss out of that, net loss, and ramifications. You know, like I said, I don't want to be short money either for programming, but if you can't put on the programs because of the virus, you're not going to put on the programs anyway. So it doesn't mean you still need to do capitals and maintain the facilities and facilities that we have. So I'll be asking staff and Brad and Ben to put some of those numbers together. As part of my committee, I'll try and address that, as to how we go about it if we're going to go forward, as well as what the possible revenue loss would be if we stop, because we do have money invested in architectural design, which you may be able to reuse and maybe not, depending on how long you wait. So, anyways, that's my thoughts at this point.
Any other comments or questions on this topic?
Yeah, I just want to clarify for you guys. Money spent so far is well spent. Williams Architects has given us design. Well, the goal is to get through design development, which is the majority of what we've already paid, and the remainder of their contract will be for construction administration. So if we never get to that point, we still have documents, and that we can go through the permitting process, which allows us some time through the permitting that you still can do it next year. So we're not. I just want to make sure very clear the money is well spent right now, and we still have an opportunity to make a choice. We have we can make a fork in the road and turn left or right. So it's not going to affect this. We'll still have good drawings that we'll be able to use later if we choose so. I just want to make sure you guys understand that.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think limiting the concern to what we were going to take out of the corporate fund is where we have to focus, because that's the money that we can use for other purposes. So I'm done.
Correct. And right now, none of them, right now, the money is coming out of the capital fund for the administrator, the A&E fees.
Right.
But the money in the corporate fund was also had fund balances in there for capital projects that we and land acquisition that we, had made plans for. So
That is correct
the,
as well.
the capitals are going to go away. You can always push them back, but you're still going to have to do capital. So, like I said, I just would like to know look at the numbers a little bit more in detail before I give you my final opinion on delaying or not.
All right, we're all good on that topic? Any other new business?
That was old business.
Or any other old business, excuse me? Okay, any new business? I have one. It's just a reminder to commissioners that we're going to be doing our, God, I still can't figure out the term of this.
Synodia?
What's that, Bill?
I don't know. I was guessing that you were going to say Synodia.
Whatever that is. Essentially, our president, vice president, treasurer, secretary, and that is coming up. I'm going to ask Ben to throw that on the agenda for next meeting. So, what's that?
I said, Kathy, did you hear that?
So, commissioners, if you want to talk to each other one-on-one and find out who kind of wants what position, and then we can have a discussion in committee of the whole, and then I suspect it would take to the last meeting in May to make that move. Any other new business? Okay, we're at payment of the bills. It's, we're gonna have three sets here. It's April 9th, 2020, in the amount of $64,009.53. April 9th, 2020 P cards in the amount of $96,964.47. And April 16th, 2020 in the amount of $139,868. I need a motion and a second.
So moved.
Second.
Kathy, can I get a roll call, please?
Commissioner Cook,
Yes.
Commissioner Biedke,
Yes.
Commissioner Sauer,
Yes.
Commissioner O'Malley,
No.
and President Walls.
I am a yes. Okay, we're at adjournment to closed session for the purpose of discussing personnel per 2C1. I need a motion and a second.
So moved. Second.
Kathy, can I get a roll call on that?
Commissioner Biedke,
Yes.
Commissioner Sauer,
Yes.
Commissioner O'Malley,
Yes.
Commissioner Cook,
Yes.
President Walls.
Yes.